If you can believe it, the New York City subway system is celebrating its 120th anniversary this Sunday, and we are taking a close look at how it was built, its impact across the city, and solutions to expand it.
Transportation reporter Elijah Westbrook is a native New Yorker and grew up riding the subway. He takes us underground and gives us a look at how it all began.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
New Yorkers will tell you their city's heart does not beat without its subway trains.
They've changed lives. They make relationships. They make romance.
They don't humble people. If you think you're better than somebody else, get on the train.
Whether you love it or see room for improvement, it's an engineering marvel. Conchetta Bensavenga from the New York Transit Museum says the subway had some meteorological beginnings.
The reason why we have a subway at all is because there was a freak hurricane. It's called the Great White Hurricane of 1888. It was a blizzard. It came in the spring, and it crippled the city. That was really the sort of catalyst to say maybe that going underground is not such a bad idea.
Following that storm, the Interborough Rapid Transit Company, also known as the IRT, a private train company, had formed. And on October 27, 1904, the NYC subway opened to the public.
That first line was parts of what is the 456 of today and the 123 of today. So the original subway line went from Old City Hall Station up to 42nd Street, went across Manhattan and up to 145th Street.
And the price to hop on board was just a nickel. The IRT's success created competition from the Brooklyn Manhattan Transit Corporation, also known as the BMT, in 1923, and the Independent Subway System, or IND, in 1932.
The cadence of transportation history in New York City has always been about challenge and change.
In 1940, the city purchased those three companies. The MTA touts itself as the largest transportation network in North America. In 2023, subway ridership increased to 1.15 billion. The cars themselves, known as rolling stock, are another makeup of the subway's identity, from the standard low Vs to the iconic Redbirds. I'm told designers had to keep in mind efficiency, capacity, and speed.
The IRT, when it was open, prided themselves on speed. You can get from City Hall to Harlem in 15 minutes.
It's always been described as the great equalizer.
I think it's fair to say that when you do things in New York City, the over-under that it's going to become iconic is actually pretty high.
The system has now grown to include 472 stations, more than 6,000 cars, and over 800 track miles, according to the MTA. Those rails pieced together, experts say, would stretch to Chicago. A lot has advanced in this aging system. Most notably, the 7 train was extended to 34th Street in 2015. And just 2 years later, Phase 1 of the 2nd Avenue subway became a reality, extending the queue to the Upper East Side.
The New York City subway system is, there's so many words to describe it. My favorite part about the system is the trains, of course. Oh my, these machines.
And that machine has been running for 120 years, and it might give some perspective on why modernizing it is not so cut and dry.
Wow, that was so informative. Elijah joins us live here in studio.
Did you take notes?
There was so much. It was really amazing what you did there. And obviously, this is a major milestone. There's something to be said about that. But let's talk about the challenges.
That's right. Yeah,
in
there was
building
certainly
this
a lot
system.
of complexities when it came to not only designing but building this mammoth of a system. So when I spoke to historians who are familiar with the design and building process of the New York City subway system, they told me that engineers had to build through marble and what's called schist. It's a type of rock that's common here in this part of the country. They had to basically have these mini explosions underground in order to construct those tunnels. So you can only imagine what that did for the neighborhoods that were near these areas where the subway was being built. But also, it was just an engineering marvel in fact, for 1904 at that time.
Yeah, and in 1904, City Hall to Harlem was 15-minute
15 minutes, isn't that something?
You couldn't get there now.
Exactly.
But how did the system become part of people's lives?
Well, it's certainly a vital part of New York City. It essentially is the great equalizer. We were just talking about this during the commercial break. It's $2.90 to hop on board. So it doesn't matter if you're rich or you're someone who is considered to be working class, you're still paying that $2.90 fee. There are also people who I talked to whose lives have transformed because of this. So one man who you'll hear from tomorrow says that he met his wife while riding the subway 30 years ago. So It's quite interesting.
Well, he spoke to somebody else on the subway.
Yes,
That's it. That's the remarkable thing.
Yes.
Elijah, great work. We look forward to our next piece.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in. We love it.
Thank you. All right, turning to the weather now. Or actually, Elijah, he just mentioned he's going to tell us more this weekend through Monday. The subway, 120 years on the move this weekend. That's just so impressive. You can watch this right here on air and streaming on CBS News New York.